All right, this is Patrick Torres with Home Choice Lending, here with Nicole Quinn from Keller Williams Realty. How you doing today, Nicole?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Good. Good to have you here. You're local to the area, to the Manchester, Bedford area, correct?
Correct.
And you've lived in the area for about how long?
I think coming up on 7 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you're originally from New York?
Yes, Queens.
Okay, great. And you moved out here, a few years ago?
It's let's do the math. It was 2014, so almost 8 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And what was your path to real estate?
Well, it was an unconventional one, that's for certain. My background is in fine arts. I have a degree in painting and printmaking. After college, I was a gallery manager in New York for 2 years until that gallery decided to close its doors. I started doing their online sales, which is sort of what led to some marketing work that I was doing at the time. But what I really wanted to pursue was makeup. So I did makeup artistry, freelance, while also doing marketing and also working in a restaurant for a while. My ex at the time got a job in Boston and we moved up here, and I completely moved my business online. So I was doing marketing for various companies and also doing makeup work on the internet, teaching people how to do their makeup. And during COVID, that all sort of started to change. That landscape shifted a lot. And I was also, no longer with my ex, so my life was changing, and I decided to make a big pivot. And I always had real estate in the back of my mind. My mom works in title, and I always liked the freedom that she had in her job, and I thought it would be appealing to me. And people had mentioned to me before that they thought I would make a good agent, and it just was in the back of my mind. So I just signed up for real estate school. And I got my license a year ago tomorrow, and I've been working at Keller Williams ever since.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank
you. Tell us a little bit about your first year and what it's been like and things you've learned.
So I came into real estate in maybe the craziest market of all time, which has been, I think, a good thing. It was very challenging to get started for certain. And it's been a very challenging market to work in, but I like to look at it like, when you're learning to drive a stick and they make you start on a hill because that way you get the hardest part over with first.
Is that how you learn how to drive a stick?
I mean, yeah, that is how I don't drive a stick now, but that is how I learned how to do it. Yeah.
Who did that to you?
My cousin.
Sounds dreadful.
It was dreadful, but he was right though. I got the hard part out of the way. So that's how I kind of look at getting into the market at this time. Like, if I can do it now, if I can start on the hill, then the rest of it should be an easy drive.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I hope I'm right.
Okay. And do you still do some of the art on the side? You said you do paintings.
Sometimes. I don't often. I mean, it's such a commitment to have a studio set up and things like that, but I dabble here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about some of the deals you've had, some of the things you've learned, and things you would recommend to people who are going to be selling their home or buying in the future, just, some of your advice.
So my advice is, if you're a buyer going into this market, you need to work with someone who is willing to get a little creative, who is tenacious, and who isn't afraid to try to problem solve. It's funny you asked that question because I actually just submitted an offer before I came here today, and I think it's very interesting how it's been playing out. And I'll let you know if it gets accepted or not. I don't know yet, but we had to get very creative on both how we were crafting the offer and what type of loan they were getting for that property. But it's I think it's something that is going to work out very well for my clients, and it really took. We've been going back and forth with our lenders and with the sellers 4 or 5 days now on the phone, just tweaking things and changing their loan type and figuring out things we wound up going with an FHA 203K loan, which,
Really?
yes.
What, like a $26,000, like the smaller one?
No, the rehab loan?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, the smaller of the
Of the two?
Yes.
The simpler one?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my first time using that.
Right.
But it's a great solution for them, and it wouldn't have happened if we hadn't been thinking on our feet, you know?
Were there some things to the property that needed to be done, like paint, floors?
Yeah,
things like that?
there are some windows that need to be painted. It needs an entire new roof. And it also needs back stairs to come out from the sliding glass doors into the yard.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing major, but things that would not typically work for a regular FHA loan. And, you know, I think it's going to work out really well for the seller and also for my buyers. So
That's smart.
Yeah.
Did you make that transition after the purchase and sale was
no.
Yeah.
We had gotten them pre-approved for that type of loan in order to open up more possibilities in this market for them because, you know, at a certain price point, you run into a lot of things that can't go typical FHA.
Right.
And so why not have other options?
Smart.
Yeah.
That's thinking on your feet.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
But that would be my biggest advice, especially if you're a seller. I mean, most likely you're going to sell your home in this market. You might get a little bit more, you might get a little bit less, depending on how things play out. But the buyers are the ones who really need the advice. And the advice is to stay on your toes, think on your feet, get creative, and also be prepared for a little bit of a long process.
Right. Yeah, we see buyers out there putting so many offers in, and it can be frustrating at times, but what are some of the tips that you learned that get your clients' offers accepted?
Well, what I think is really important to remember is it often comes down to the terms because most houses are getting multiple offers. So if two are exactly the same amount of money, then the terms of the contract are really what becomes important. So agents should be probably writing their contracts as tight as possible. And if you can do little things like make sure that you can get an inspection done quickly if you're not waiving them, I think that's a huge difference. If you can, you know, keep the closing window small, if possible, talk to your lender, see what the shortest amount of time that's realistic is. Like all of those little things, I think, make a big difference.
Yeah. And I know we're seeing a lot of that at first, waiving inspections, but
Yeah.
is that something you're still seeing, and is that something you recommend?
It is something that we're still seeing, and no, I don't like to recommend that. If my buyers want to do it, then at the end of the day, I do what they want me to do. It's
Right.
their money, it's their home. But no, I don't come out of the gate and say that they should do that.
Right, you make it an option,
Yeah.
but it's not something you
Yeah,
recommend.
usually the way I present it is, this is something people are doing. You can do this. And then they ask, well, should I? And I say, honestly, no, I don't think so.
Right.
But, you know, it also comes down to, at the end of the day, how much do they love that house? Are they willing to take that risk to make sure that they get it? It's really up to them.
Yeah.
But it's not something I like to see people do because, you know, if the financial burden falls on them,
Right.
if there is something defective that they weren't aware of because they didn't have an inspection done,
Right.
you know?
Are there any other things that you're seeing out there in offers that we haven't seen in the past, that we're just seeing a lot of, like appraisal gap coverage?
Oh yeah, appraisal gap coverage for sure.
All
That's
the
a
time?
huge one. Yes. I mean, it's almost to a point now where people are like shocked if they don't get an offer with an appraisal gap coverage
right.
written in. I've also seen some really creative offers being written, I was joking with Diane on the other podcast that I do, that I saw one where the buyers agreed to adopt the 6 cats that lived in the property in order to get the deal done.
Oh yeah, I think I was watching that podcast. 6 cats?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah.
Adopt them all.
Adopt them all.
For life.
For life. There was a situation with dogs where they fostered them temporarily as well. There were a lot of animal things that were being written into these contracts for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, the 6 cats were a permanent deal. They were keeping them forever.
That's a lot of cats.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta hope that they're house trained at that point, right?
You have to really be a cat person too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, cats everywhere all
Yeah.
the time.
I don't know. I wouldn't have done it if
Right.
it were me.
That's extreme.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to
Okay.
ask. You have to
Okay.
really want the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other recommendations or things you're seeing out there?
Make sure that you're really comfortable with your realtor because you're going to be spending a lot of time together.
Right.
Yeah.
How long is it you say you work with someone from first conversation to house closing on average?
It really depends. It's so hard to even give an average, but I mean, I have clients that I've been working with for 9 months now,
Yeah.
and others that are. I mean, we have offers in, and they look very good and hopeful that they should be getting accepted this week, and it's only been a month. So it's like there's a really wide range. It really depends on the situation that the client is in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in your mind, what makes a great realtor, and why would someone want to choose you for the realtor?
In my mind, what makes a great realtor is someone who is, first and foremost, is willing to put their client before themselves. I think it's so important to remember that you're a fiduciary and that you are acting in their best interest first. Because there's a lot of things out there right now that could sway you to, not want to put an offer in a certain way or whatever it is, but you have to remember that that client is what comes first. And what I think is, people, you need to, when you speak about these things, you have to appeal to people's best interests. And it is in the best interest of the realtor to do business that way too, because, we run our businesses basically on referrals, or we hope to anyway.
Over time.
Over time, yeah.
Yeah.
So long term, it's in your best interest to do that anyway.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And reputation is important, but just
Huge.
doing well by people.
Yeah.
What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
And it is so important.
Mhm.
I saw this study for Navy SEALs, and they did a report on who they would promote to high positions in within the cliques, or what are they called when you have a regiment
Okay, yeah, I don't
or
know
whatever.
what the proper
Who
term
they
is
would-
for that. Yeah.
who they would promote. They measured high performance individuals and
Mhm.
high trust individuals, and it was interesting because they valued high trust individuals even over high performance individuals.
Mhm.
Ideally, you would like to have a mix of the two,
Yeah.
but they just put a high emphasis on having someone you could trust in a leadership position. And
Yeah.
I think that the same goes for someone who you're going to trust with such a big decision in your life.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's the biggest investment that most people ever make. So
Mm.
you need to have a huge amount of trust in the person. So really, to answer your question more succinctly, I think it's the thing you should look for in a realtor is integrity, for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think you get a lot of that out there. I think a lot of us are pretty good at the end of the day.
I do.
Yeah.
But you have to really value the people more than the money
hmm
at the end of the day, right?
I think you value the people more than the money, and that's kind of what makes the money come.
Right.
Yeah.
Very smart. All right. Well, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Nicole Quinn with Keller Williams Metropolitan. Call her if you're looking to buy or sell.
Absolutely.
She's going to take care of you and do a great job for you.
Always do my best for you.
Absolutely. So it was a pleasure to have you on today, Nicole.
Thank you for having me. It
Thanks
was a really
for
great
being
time.
here, and we're going to sign off with that.
Okay, sounds great. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.